The 7th running of the FEI Eventing World Cup Final, sponsored for the 2nd year by HSBC, was staged just outside Strzegom, the granite city in southwest Poland. Welcome to our highlights. This is the first time the series final has travelled to Eastern Europe. The organisers at the Strzegom venue having run World Cup qualifiers since the World Cup series began back in 2003. 31 riders from 14 nations will be competing for this prestigious and valuable prize. And what a field it is. The reigning 2008 HSBC champion, Australia's Clayton Fredericks, is here with Ben a long time to defend the title they won in 2007 and 2008. But the opposition this year is formidable. His wife Lucinda has brought the brilliant Hedley Britannia, winner of the Rolex Kentucky 3-day event in April and the first mare to win Kentucky, Badminton and Burghley. Then there is the 2009 badminton champion Oliver Townend and Flint Curtis. Can he add this prize to the Express eventing title he won back in November in Cardiff and the badminton title? Horse and rider showed their good form with an excellent second at the last qualifier at Gatcombe. The 2009 Le Moulin winner Michael Young and La Beertha Sam are also here. And what an impression this combination made in Germany back in June. Le Moulin cross-country course designer Mark Phillips said that his course could not have been ridden better by Young, and as La Beertha Sam is just 9 years old, further improvement is likely. Supporting the top cast are Buck Davison from the USA and My Boy Bobby, third at this year's Rolex Kentucky 3-day event, and Le Moulin runner-up Andreas Dubowski with Euro Riding's Butts Leon. Not to mention the likes of Mark Todd, Karen Donkers, Frank Ostholt, and the 2009 Gatcombe World Cup qualifier winner Ruth Edge. This is an international field of the highest class. Your commentator for the action is Jamie Hawksfield.
Thank you, Rupert. Well, the first we see in the dressage for the host country, Robert Pavala, and he would give the crowd something to cheer about as he would take an early lead before the first break with a score of 41.4. But sadly for Lucinda Fredericks and the great Hedley Britannia, well, this just wasn't their competition. The 3-star test didn't really suit this rather short-striding little mare, not technical enough for them, and after the dressage, Lucinda decided to call it a day. For Great Britain now, Ruth Edge riding the 13-year-old Hanoverian PC Wilson. Ruth, winner of the last qualifier at Gatcombe earlier in the month, in great form. This horse, 13 years old, hasn't got a lot of miles on the clock, and a really good moving, big moving Hanoverian gelding this. And Ruth, such a good exponent of the dressage phase. And they would take a lead that would last for some time on a score of 35.2 until this man entered the arena, Oliver Townend, the badminton champion, on Flint Curtis. Well, this was just a test to savour. He, from the very beginning, he just flowed around this dressage arena, and Oliver is such a competitive man. He'd driven right across Europe to come to this competition with a lot of prize money on offer, so generously sponsored this final by HSBC, and he wanted it. He'd of course won the Express eventing title back in November in Cardiff. He'd won badminton, just 26 years old, and this combination now just get better and better. 13 years old now, this grey gelding by William Curtis, owned by Edward and Robert Nicholson. And they just seemed to be as one, this partnership today. You can see the scores in the background there. 8s and 9s were going up regularly. And you knew that bar a disaster, this was going to be the new leader. Lovely flying change, just a little beyond the centre line there, but very smooth. Extended canter down the far side. This is not as technical, this test, as the 4-star test. This, of course, being a 3-star, this final. It suits horses more that are flowing in their movement. Counter-canter in the circle there, and then the flying change. I saw Oliver practicing his flying changes the day before outside in the warm-up area, and it was just brilliant. Every 4 strides he was doing flying changes. So as he comes down the centre line to the halt, this had been a brilliant performance by the British rider. And when I caught up with him afterwards, he couldn't believe his score. 29.6. Was that the first time he'd broken 30?
By a long way. You know, it was fabulous. He's got it in him, but it's just getting his brain right and everything else. But it all just fell into place, and he felt lovely all the way through.
So what's different today? What's been the key to it?
Just constant work. It's just stepping stones all the way. But I mean, you know, he's just got better and better with age, and hopefully we're starting to reap the benefits of too long a work to try and get that. But it was just brilliant.
So he'd really set a score for the defending champion, Clayton Fredericks, on the now 14-year-old. Been a long time, this lovely Irish-bred horse owned by the Macaulays. And what a record this combination have got. They've won 2 World Cup finals. They've won Gatcombe, second in Aachen in the World Equestrian Games. Such a consistent pairing. Lovely horse, this really does hold himself. Sort of makes you think, he says, look at me, aren't I beautiful? And he is a lovely looking horse. His trot work was a little bit conservative perhaps, because he'd been very fresh at Gatcombe just previously in the qualifier there. He didn't actually run across country, but I think Clayton was being a bit conservative. But indeed, in that rein-back, he would get the only 10 from the judges, from Marilyn Payne, president of the ground jury. And indeed, Marilyn said afterwards that she had never, ever judged such good dressage to such a consistent high standard ever in her career in eventing. It really was terrific stuff that the Polish crowd were enjoying. But his canter work, his score really started to ratchet up. There you can see in the background 8s, 9, 8. Terrific marks for the defending champion. And when he came in the arena, he just heard that Australia were doing really badly in the cricket in the Ashes series against England. And he said that he really wanted to pull something out for Australia. Well, he was doing them proud. Lovely smooth counter-canter there. And perfect flying change, right on the button. He's not going to give up this title lightly. And that was a great performance by Clayton Fredericks. Normally, it's the wife who beats him in the dressage, but not this time. So, for Germany, the very next to go, Frank Ostholt and the 14-year-old Hanoverian Chestnut Gelding, Air Jordan. And this combination seemed to have been around forever. It was a long time ago they won Le Moulin, but he's represented his country in the 2004 Athens Olympic Games on Air Jordan, 2006 World Equestrian Games in Aachen, where they were 4th individually. And unfortunately for Frank, at this year's Le Moulin, in the lead after the dressage, going really well on the cross-country. In the last water, just for some reason, horse and rider lost their way. Lack of communication. The horse just didn't understand the question, and they had a refusal. And I know that Frank is determined to make up for that. He is a brilliant exponent of the dressage phase, as all German riders are. And there's nobody more experienced. 33 years old now, Frank. And this has been a really good test. Just one flying change went awry, but apart from that, and a lovely smile. He knows he's done well.
So after an excellent day's dressage, the top of the leaderboard couldn't be closer, with Oliver Townend on 29.60, just 1 point ahead of Frank Ostholt, with defending champion Clayton a close third. Then came Ruth Edge and Michael Young, still plenty close enough to mount a challenge in the jumping phases. Conditions were much cooler on the morning of the cross-country after heavy overnight thunderstorms, which was just what the doctor ordered as far as the going on Rudiger Schwartz's cross-country course was concerned, and conditions for horse and rider were near perfect. The crowds flocked in all morning, and 20,000 was the estimated crowd at the end of the day, much to the delight of the organisers. However, the rain resulted in fence 13 being omitted, so the riders faced 26 numbered obstacles with 38 jumping efforts. The distance of the course was 4,700 metres and the time allowed 7 minutes 15 seconds. The cross-country action is coming up after this break.